As we finish our reading of the Book of Deuteronomy, chapters 31 through 34 mark the conclusion of Moses' journey with the Israelites. In these chapters, Moses, recognizing his impending death, prepares Joshua to succeed him as Israel's leader. He imparts final instructions and blessings, emphasizing obedience to God. Moses delivers a song and a blessing, encapsulating his legacy and the Israelites' covenant with God. These chapters poignantly reflect on leadership, legacy, and the enduring faithfulness of God amidst human transitions. Consider your journey as you ponder Moses' final days. How are you preparing for the future and investing in others? What legacy are you building, and how does it reflect your faith in God? Now please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, guide me to live a life that honors you, just as Moses did. Help me to lead with wisdom and to leave a legacy of faith and obedience. Now glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, it is now, and will be forever. Amen. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Deuteronomy, chapter 31. Moses went and spoke these words to all Israel. He said to them, I am 120 years old today. I can no more go out and come in. Yahweh has said to me, You shall not go over this Jordan. Yahweh your God, He will go over before you. He will destroy these nations from before you, and you shall dispossess them. Joshua, he shall go over before you, as Yahweh has spoken. Yahweh will do to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, the kings of the Amorites, and to their land, whom he destroyed. Yahweh will deliver them up before you, and you shall do to them according to all the commandment which I have commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid, nor be scared of them, for Yahweh your God, He it is who goes with you. He will not fail you, nor forsake you. Moses called to Joshua, and said to him in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and courageous, for you must go with this people into the land which Yahweh has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you shall cause them to inherit it. Yahweh, He is the one who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not fail you, nor forsake you. Don't be afraid. Don't be dismayed. Moses wrote this law and delivered it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who bore the ark of Yahweh's covenant, and to all the elders of Israel. Moses commanded them, saying, At the end of every 7 years, in the set time of the year of release, in the Feast of Booths, when all Israel has come to appear before Yahweh your God in the place which he will choose, you shall read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Assemble the people, the men and the women and the little ones, and your foreigner who is within your gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn and fear Yahweh your God, and observe to do all the words of this law, and that their children who have not known may hear and learn to fear Yahweh your God, as long as you live in the land where you go over the Jordan to possess it. Yahweh said to Moses, Behold, your days approach that you must die. Call Joshua and present yourselves in the tent of meeting, that I may commission him. Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves in the tent of meeting. Yahweh appeared in the tent in a pillar of cloud. The pillar of cloud stood over the door of the tent. Yahweh said to Moses, Behold, you shall sleep with your fathers, and this people will rise up and play the prostitute after the strange gods of the land where they go to be among them. They will forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them. My anger will be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them and hide my face from them, and they will be devoured. Many evils and troubles will come on them, so that they will say in that day, "Haven't these evils come on us, because our God is not among us?" I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they shall have worked, in that they are turned to other gods. Now therefore write this song for yourselves, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swore to their fathers, flowing with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves and grown fat, then will they turn to other gods, and serve them, and despise me, and break my covenant. It shall happen, when many evils and troubles have come on them, that this song shall testify before them as a witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imagination which they go about, even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swore. Moses wrote this song the same day, and taught it to the children of Israel. He gave Joshua the son of Nun a charge, and said, "Be strong and of good courage, for you shall bring the children of Israel into the land which I swore to them, and I will be with you." It happened, when Moses had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book until they were finished, that Moses commanded the Levites who bore the ark of Yahweh's covenant, saying, "Take this book of the law, and put it by the side of the ark of the covenant of Yahweh your God, that it may be there for a witness against you. For I know your rebellion and your stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you today, you have been rebellious against Yahweh, and how much more after my death? Assemble to me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words in their ears, and call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you will utterly corrupt yourselves, and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will happen to you in the latter days, because you will do that which is evil in the sight of Yahweh, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands." Moses spoke in the ears of all the assembly of Israel the words of this song, until they were finished. Chapter 32. Give ear, you heavens, and I will speak. Let the earth hear the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall condense as the dew, as the small rain on the tender herb, and as the showers on the grass. Because I will proclaim the name of the Lord, ascribe greatness to our God. He is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are justice. A God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right is he. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do you thus repay the Lord, you foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who has bought you? Has he not made you and established you? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you, your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the children of men, he set the bounds of the peoples according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land, in the waste howling wilderness. He encircled him. He cared for him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle that stirs up her nest, that flutters over her young, he spread abroad his wings. He took them. He bore them on his pinions. The Lord alone led him. There was no foreign god with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields. He made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock, butter of the herd, and milk of the flock, with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats, with the finest of the wheat. And you drank the pure blood of the grape. But Jeshurun grew fat, and kicked. You grew fat, you grew thick, you are covered with fatness. Then he forsook God who made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations they provoked him to anger. They sacrificed to demons, not to God, to gods whom they didn't know, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers didn't dread. Of the rock who fathered you, you are unmindful, and have forgotten God who gave you birth. The Lord saw it, and abhorred them, because of the provocation of his sons and his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them, I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very perverse generation, children in whom is no faithfulness. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those who are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn to the lowest Sheol. It shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap evils upon them. I will spend my arrows on them. They shall be wasted with hunger and devoured with burning heat and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of crawling things of the dust. The sword without, and terror within, shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. I said I would scatter them afar. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the provocation of the enemy, lest their adversaries should judge wrongly, lest they should say, Our hand is exalted, and the Lord has not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How could one chase 1,000, and two put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had sold them, and the Lord had delivered them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and the cruel venom of asps. Is not this laid up in store with me, sealed up among my treasures? To me belongs vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time. For the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. For the Lord shall judge his people, and have compassion on his servants, when he sees that their power is gone, and there is none remaining, shut up or left abroad. And he shall say, Where are their gods, the rock in which they took refuge? Who ate the fat of their sacrifices, and drank the wine of their drink offering? Let them rise up and help you. Let them be your protection. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven, and say, As I live forever, if I whet my glittering sword, and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies, and will reward those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh. With the blood of the slain and the captives, from the long-haired heads of the enemy. Rejoice, you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants. He will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will make expiation for his land, for his people. Chapter 33. This is the blessing with which Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death. He said, Yahweh came from Sinai and rose from Seir to them. He shined forth from Mount Paran. He came from the 10,000s of holy ones. At his right hand was a fiery law for them. Yes, he loves the people. All his saints are in your hand. They sat down at your feet. Everyone shall receive of your words. Moses commanded us a law, an inheritance for the assembly of Jacob. He was king in Jeshurun when the heads of the people were gathered, all the tribes of Israel together. Let Reuben live and not die, nor let his men be few. This is for Judah. He said, Hear Yahweh, the voice of Judah. Bring him to his people. With his hands he contended for himself. You shall be a help against his adversaries. Of Levi he said, Your Thummim and your Urim are with your godly one, whom you proved at Massah, with whom you strove at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and of his mother, I have not seen him. Neither did he acknowledge his brothers, nor did he know his own children, for they have observed your word and keep your covenant. They shall teach Jacob your ordinances, and Israel your law. They shall put incense before you, and whole burnt offering on your altar. Yahweh, bless his substance, accept the work of his hands. Strike through the hips of those who rise against him, and of those who hate him, that they not rise again. Of Benjamin he said, The beloved of Yahweh will dwell in safety by him. He covers him all the day long. He dwells between his shoulders. Of Joseph he said, His land is blessed by Yahweh, for the precious things of heaven, for the dew, for the deep that couches beneath, for the precious things of the fruits of the sun, for the precious things of the growth of the moons, for the chief things of the ancient mountains, for the precious things of the everlasting hills, for the precious things of the earth and its fullness, and the good will of him who dwelt in the bush. Let the blessing come on the head of Joseph, on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. The firstborn of his herd, majesty is his. His horns are the horns of the wild ox. With them he shall push the peoples, all of them, even the ends of the earth. They are the 10,000s of Ephraim. They are the thousands of Manasseh. Of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. They shall call the peoples to the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall draw out the abundance of the seas, the hidden treasures of the sand. Of Gad he said, He who enlarges Gad is blessed. He dwells as a lioness, and tears the arm, yes, the crown of the head. He provided the first part for himself, for there was the lawgiver's portion reserved. He came with the heads of the people. He executed the righteousness of Yahweh, his ordinances with Israel. Of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub that leaps out of Bashan. Of Naphtali he said, Naphtali, satisfied with favor, full of the blessing of Yahweh, possess the west and the south. Of Asher he said, Asher is blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brothers. Let him dip his foot in oil. Your bars shall be iron and brass. As your days, so your strength will be. There is none like God, Jeshurun, who rides on the heavens for your help, in his excellency on the skies. The eternal God is your dwelling place. Underneath are the everlasting arms. He thrust out the enemy from before you and said, Destroy. Israel dwells in safety, the fountain of Jacob alone. in a land of grain and new wine. Yes, his heavens drop down dew. Happy are you, Israel, who is like you, a people saved by Yahweh, the shield of your help, the sword of your excellency. Your enemies will submit themselves to you. You will tread on their high places. Chapter 34. Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. Yahweh showed him all the land of Gilead, to Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah, to the hinder sea and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, to Zoar. Yahweh said to him, This is the land which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, I will give it to your seed. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over there. So Moses the servant of Yahweh died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yahweh. He buried him in the valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, but no man knows of his tomb to this day. Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. The children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping in the morning for Moses were ended. Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands on him. The children of Israel listened to him and did as Yahweh commanded Moses. There has not arisen a prophet since in Israel like Moses, whom Yahweh knew face to face, in all the signs and the wonders, which Yahweh sent him to do in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh, and to all his servants, and to all his land, and in all the mighty hand, and in all the great terror which Moses worked in the sight of all Israel.